Hey, we're going live here in just a few minutes on Never Been Promoted with Eric Anderson, who's the founder of Virtual Sales RX. We're going to talk about the future of sales and using video and personalization and AI. This is going to be awesome. He's a founder of a podcast called Next Level Idea. It's going to be a great conversation. He's going to join us right in a few seconds here from St. Augustine, Florida. See you in a couple. Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast and YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to help you cut the time to all the things that are holding you back so you can unleash your entrepreneur. Hey, welcome to Never Been Promoted. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing glasses, because we are going to nerd it out today on AI and then video. It's going to be great. And if you couldn't hear that, I threw my glasses on my face. Why? Because I got a prescription that doesn't actually work. It makes me want to throw up. So we're going to keep those off for the rest of my life, which is nice. And that's, there's technology involved when you get new glasses, and it doesn't involve AI or reason, apparently. But in sales, personalization of video will. So this is what we're going to be discussing today with Eric Anderson. And I know you guys are wondering right now, does Stanley really make the water taste better? Fuck yeah, it does. Okay, I want Stanley to sponsor the show is why I do that. Anyway, today, if this is your first time here, I hope that was fun because I cussed in the first 30 seconds, which is great. Probably ruined the monetization for the whole video, which means it's a benefit to you because now you won't see any ads for the rest of this show. But we're going to extend our mission. We're going to help entrepreneurs get better at entrepreneurship by helping you cut that tide, all the kind of the shit holding you back. It is the fears, the excuses. Sometimes it's some people in your life, and a lot of times it's you. It's your former self. You got to let that go and grow. So, only shameless plug I ask is go to youtube.com, subscribe at Never Been Promoted. If you listen to the podcast, a 5-star review super helps with getting our mission out there, helping the information the guests are sharing be promoted further, and also just helps me personally. So thank you. Let's bring on our guest. Eric, how are you? Eric.
I am fantastic, Thomas. How are you?
I'm saucy and cheeky today. And I don't know why, but I've dropped 2 cuss words in the first 2 minutes. I never do that. And I did that for you. So everyone else could be completely ad uninterrupted because I will not qualify for monetization now. So you're welcome.
I love it. I always love to join a podcast where the word saucy is used.
I often, when someone asks me how are you today? I always answer, I'm delicious. And if they were listening, they usually go, what? Like the supermarket, the person is supposed to be cordial. And they're like, huh? I'm like, well, I'm in the supermarket. I'm clearly delicious. Go with it. You can leverage it. St. Augustine, Florida. I was talking to you off camera. I just visited there. For those who've never been to St. Augustine, go visit, spend some money, but leave. It's getting too busy.
Exactly.
Don't move there. You want to move more inland next to Orlando.
Yeah, we love you to move to Orlando. They love it there.
Orlando. Go to Orlando.
Yeah. Yes.
And come visit us on the weekends.
Come visit us. You'll love it here. It's a wonderful historic town, and then buy your home in Orlando, and you'll love it even more.
Yeah, be cheaper too, probably.
Yeah, I would agree.
You've been in this kind of sales game for a while, right?
I have, yeah. So I After graduating from college, I jumped right into sales, because when you graduate from college and have no idea what you are going to do, you jump into sales.
Right.
And that's what I did. And so sales has been my lifelong passion.
Well, if you're good at it, well, I'm gonna have you do your background, but I'll tell. Well, let's do an icebreaker.
Okay.
Give me the worst sales pitch you were required to say.
Oh my gosh, required to say. Man, there have been so many. I've had so many terrible sales managers. You know, I don't know if one can come right to mind immediately, but I do know when I was way back in the day, and I'll be dating myself, when I actually had to go from office to office selling computers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, at one point in time, we had to walk into offices and sell someone a computer. I had to say, today is the day that this machine will make your life easier.
That's true. Should have just done it online. I don't know why.
I should
Actually,
have.
back
Yeah.
then it was on the lines with the
Yeah.
internet.
I was in a line. That's what it was. I was in a line.
That's not a bad. I mean, it's kind of pretty hokey. It's like whoever thought of that was clearly somebody already knowing what the headline of their webpage was going to be at some point.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's
And you know, though, that was a truthful statement. I don't think people realize when you said that how actually true. That was probably the most truthful statement you've ever said in sales, right there.
maybe I did it early. I got out of the way early and then onward.
Yeah. And it's funny after you're required to kind of say something or a greeting or whatever, you kind of take a breath like, thank God that's over. Okay, here's what we do.
Yeah.
Do you want to set up start with what you're doing today, like kind of a little foreshadow of where you are in the world with the pitch, kind of speak, and then go back and then give me enough creds and ideas so people can understand your perspective or where you're coming from your
Yeah,
expertise.
sure, absolutely. So I'm the co-founder of Virtual Sales RX. We are a company that is devoted towards teaching individuals how to utilize personalized video in their sales cadence and in their sales process. And it really came about because of, I'm about to say COVID, but it actually was before COVID. Myself, my co-founder, Matthew Ray Scott, we decided there had to be a better way to contact people, sell to people, convey our ideas without having to knock on 212 doors in a week and then hashtag hustle and go more and more and more. So we wanted to get relevant at scale. And the funny story was behind it was my co-founder Matthew was purchasing a new vehicle, an EV vehicle, and what occurred was he received this video from his I'll use the brand name, his Rivian guide. And the Rivian guide basically said, hey, I'm here to do this and that. And it was a personalized video that walked him through the process. And he was just dumbfounded. And he, basically told me and said, this is the future. This is what's going to be what the future is. And he was exactly right. And so we went about, and we're in the medical device space. And that's where we did a lot of our original work. And so we decided that we needed to come up with an idea or a platform that would teach other salespeople how to utilize personalized video, be relevant at scale, create value ultimately for the customer. And then also, most importantly, is bring a customer your ideal customer through the process to obviously buying from you. And so we launched in the medical device space, and that was almost 4 years ago now. And we've had phenomenal success. And so we not only are teaching medical device companies, medical device salespeople, we bridged into other verticals, other industries, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been eye-opening. And, most importantly, we've learned a lot along the way.
And I mean, you're way ahead of the game before COVID on using the personalized videos. And I think and I want to get really clear on what that is too, because, okay, so you've come from sales. Let me set that up.
Yep.
You've been you're a professional salesperson forever. And, I'm sure I'd have to guess you've learned along the way, as every other salesperson is, the outgoing characteristics that you thought was a good salesperson has nothing to do with sales and everything to do with process. And execution. And introverts, by the way, make the best salespeople because they don't want to talk.
Right. Yeah.
They actually want you to. They follow a process better than anybody, so they can just get it done. And so anyway, we'll come back to that. So
Sure.
you've you know sales, and you did this, and I love this from an entrepreneurial standpoint because you saw a problem and a need of scale, because you can't endlessly record videos and go do this. Uh, but there was a push a long time. I kept getting these on LinkedIn, like, right, these like personalized videos, but they weren't that personalized. It was just kind of like, it almost looked hacky. Like, like there was like a board that had my name on it, or there was like a horrible editing of Thomas and then the same pitch. Tell me what changed. And it's okay, they started that way. It was like, that's nascent technology back then. But what's changed in that video so people understand what you're talking about, so they don't think it's something old given when they hear this conversation?
So what we do is we combine AI and personalized video. And so we do a phenomenal job of creating a scenario where your ideal customer, because we utilize AI to profile that customer. We know more about that customer than they probably do. And the reason we do that is we can cater a personalized video to exactly their needs, their background, definitely the things that they're looking to do now and in the future. And we generate a lot of those things in the background with AI. We don't generate the video with AI, not yet, but we utilize so much in the background to profile our ideal customer. And that's really that's where sales is going. And a lot of industries are going kicking and screaming, but that's where it's going. Your ideal customer wants to hear or receive value from you in order to make a purchase or to advance in the buying process. They don't going and knocking on 27 doors every day and talking to 26 people that have absolutely no desire to talk to you. And we say this all the time, is so 1994. It's like, that's just not the way things are. They're not productive. So if you want to be relevant at scale, this is the avenue and the platform where you can do it.
And you guys are coaching this and have a technology that supports it?
So we are coaching it right now. We utilize different software platforms that we don't receive anything from at this point in time, but there's several of them out there. So we don't really, we'll tell you which ones we think are the best out there. Vidyard and things like that are platforms that are out there that are great. They're personalized video platforms that allow you to send personalized videos, when they're opened, how much they've watched, they know they've forwarded, that type of data, which, we didn't have that 10 years ago. And now we do.
And the reason I started this podcast is I just didn't want to pay for coaching, and I just need little helps from everywhere. So we're going to go down the path of how to do that now, if it's okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's the use case. I don't do any video sales. We're about to start our first email marketing campaign. To understand, from my personal brand, for my company, Instantly Relevant, and never been promoted in the stuff I do, I am so anti-spam. I think in 4.5 years as an organization, we have sent 4 emails out to our list of people. Like, that's it. And it's usually like, hey, we hit top 5% global podcast. I've mentioned you in a post. If you could just say, hey, great. I don't know, you may have gotten an email. Like, you'll get very few. All right. Take me through the scenario. And it's okay if you speak like 10 minutes in a row here, and I'll probably ask questions, but take me through the scenario of an organization like mine. And I can give you the use case too, right? So if you want to know so we verify marketing agencies' ability to deliver. So we give them a verification badge. We get them to get built trust so they can close more deals. That would be a market I'd want to go hit, is marketing agency USA. Walk me through where that is in the sales cycle and what I need, lists, technology. Like, take me through what it takes.
Yeah, it's so obviously it's going to be different for everybody else in certain situations. But I can tell you right now that when you have targeted, exactly who you're looking for. So let's kind of rewind a little bit. Written emails are about, now people will tell you all kinds of rates that probably aren't too true. Let's say it's anywhere between 0.5% and 2% engagement rate. So that's engagement rate. Engage, they click, they follow through, they want to see what you have to say. More like, that's engagement. Actual emails that are even read is probably 0.1%. People don't read emails. And I know that everybody talks about, I've got a system for cold emailing people, and this is how it works, and you're going to love it. And they don't work. I'm sorry, they don't work. But what does work, and it all is about the human brain, and it's about punching it in the amygdala, is this. If someone sees you Now, with software platforms that we use, if someone sees a personalized video and it starts in whether you text it to them, whether they receive it in some kind of a email form, now it would be in the email form, but if it was in that kind of form and they see your face, they engage. That's how it works. And these platforms will allow you, whether it's a moving thumbnail or things of that nature, with a highlighted byline obviously that pertains to what you're trying to achieve. Hey, have you thought about doing this and increasing your engagement by 72.4%? And you see somebody's face. I mean, usually you use a good looking person, not me. But if you use somebody who, you look at them and you go, oh, I want to know what they have to say, they'll click. And here's the crazy thing. Over 4 years, we've sent, oh boy, 30 something thousand videos. Just our organization. We have a 75.2% watch rate.
So let me ask you, we use a thing called Wise Stamp. So I have things embedded in there. Is it recommended to get rid of something like that as part of it?
I would, yeah.
Would it be too much?
I think it's too much. Yeah. I think if it's a very simple visual, punch them in the amygdala, I know what I want to know. Wow. Okay. I do want to know about that. Click.
So it'd be like, let's say for a cold email campaign or whatever that would be, this is where you would use it in with a simple text and then like enough to be like, hey, I made you a video. Like this is actually me making you a video.
Well, yeah, the software platforms will allow you to have a thumbnail where it may be moving. Oftentimes what we teach, here's a little tip. We have a little whiteboard that we often will hold up. And on the whiteboard, it will say whatever we're going to do to punch you in the amygdala. And they go, oh, I want to know that, because here's the actual neuroscience behind it. When the human brain doesn't know whether you're seeing a person right in front of you or if you're seeing a video, it doesn't differentiate. It just knows I'm going to engage. And it never sees that when you have a text email. What it does is it triggers some kind of, okay, I read that, I have to do that. But if somebody sees a video, it's why TikTok, it's why Instagram, it's why all these platforms are able to give you the shot of dopamine, punch you right in the amygdala and go, hey, here we are, and you watch. And that's why it's addictive. Why everybody, do yourself a favor if you want to figure out how addictive it is. Go into any doctor's office or go into any place with a group of 20 people and count how many people are staring at their phone. Now, that's what it is. It's
I play TD Balloon 6, so I like to play video games. That's what
there you go. Yeah, whatever works for you. But that's
blind. I mean, it's great. And not that I get paid from it, but I should. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, why do you grind so hard on it? I go, I don't know. I just like grinding through games. Leave me alone. I'm grinding.
Exactly. And you don't know why you're grinding, but you are.
I do. I just love it because it's a complete mental checkout in a little bit of strategy.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Please continue.
No.
I digress. I am. There's one skill I have, and I usually put it on a job application why I'm unemployable, is that I am fantastic at diverting and digressing any meeting if allowed to.
Well, that's why you probably get invited quite often.
No, it's a corporate tactic when you're not prepared for a meeting is to waste the first 28 minutes. Like, hey guys, looks like we're out of time. Why don't we just pick this up in a month and I'll send some emails about it and then no one remembers. All right, keep going.
Gotcha, no problem. Well, and so once the human brain sees it and it locks in and it says, that's something that interests me, that creates I'm gonna watch this video. And like I said, we have our videos are watched 75.2%. And so the software we use allows us to measure that data to see when it's watched, how long it's watched, is it forwarded, all those different things. And
so give a perspective. You're at 75% or so. What is industry typical for an email, you said?
They'll give you anywhere between 0.5% and 2%.
And then on a warm email list, is yours on a cold outreach?
Mine's on a cold outreach. Yeah, ours is on a cold outreach. Yeah, and so
you charge enough for your services.
Well, yeah, it's we get told that quite often, but it's I would say it's cold outreach with a very warm potential customer. We know what they want. We know what they want to hear. We understand that. We've done our background with AI. It's how we've studied. We know more about them than they probably know about themselves, and so we're able to then cater that personalized video to what they're.
How long are the videos typically in something like that?
So we try to say that every video between 1 and 2 minutes.
And that long? Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
I would have not
and
guessed that at all.
so ideally, they're all less than 1 minute. Ideally, they're all less than 1 minute. I mean,
Gotcha.
if you go over a minute, don't ever go in 2 minutes because as salespeople, we have absolutely not been trained to talk in 1 minute increments. We have been taught to talk and talk and talk and talk and not listen and then talk more.
I'm sure. What were you
And
saying?
yeah, exactly. And
Wait, so do you do the trick like, hey, in less than 90 seconds, I'm gonna explain this, and you do it in like 58 seconds? Because that's like a great trick because they're expecting 90, and then you're like, oh, it's over?
it can be. Yeah, that's actually that's an excellent way to do it.
I do that
You
all
know,
the time. Give me 2
eh,
minutes, and I'll do it like in 48 seconds. Like, there
right.
you go. Now a
Yeah.
minute for you to question me.
Well, and it's proven that when people start to hear it after about, I think it's 7 seconds now, which I think it's probably less now that we're so distracted that the human brains being that's a whole other podcast, how the human brains being transformed with technology. But they say in about 7 seconds, if you don't catch some attention, you don't catch them with something, they're not listening.
Right.
They're there, but they're not listening.
All right. So you're working with a customer. You got the list. You know it's going to be a cold email. You know you have an idea what the personalized the video should be. Does your customer or your person you're coaching, they go and film it just like I would film something here, or and you give them the script, or tell me, like, how much hand holding do you do with that one?
So with our course and our platform, we do what's called the content cookbook. It's 50 different ideas. Just give them all kinds of different ideas and things that they can utilize in order to whatever they want to use in order to get to where they want to go. And so typically we tell them either it could be a webcam. I mean, it can be iPhone, phone. You can do that with the software as well. And you can take your own personalized video. There's the opportunity and the ability to use scripts and word for word. We recommend using scripts as you get a little bit better with personalized video because you really want to be authentic and genuine. And if you're sending someone a personalized video and you think that this is the way that they want to hear, they're going to immediately hit stop, erase, X, whatever you want to say. That's what they're going to do. So it's better to talk the way you typically talk, inflection points like you typically would. We'll give you some guidance and understanding on how that works. But inflection in your own way, in your own mantra is a much better approach than doing the scripts. Now
Right.
we have sales forces that use scripts. They love it. They do it and they practiced it. So I tell everybody, do what is most comfortable for you, but be the most genuine you can possibly be. And everybody, I mean, and I will say what we're going to immediately hear is, I don't want to do videos. I hate that. I hate doing a video and sending it to somebody. And well, the reality is that technology is changing. The world is changing. And if you're okay with walking up in a hallway and talking to somebody, just pretend that somebody is a camera and talk to that camera. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same thought process.
I'm to the point where like I don't return. I mean, I listen to voicemail every once every 2 weeks when I think
Yeah.
about it. I absolutely hate talking on the phone. My wife's like, why don't you want to talk on the phone? I'm like, you talk all day. I'm like, yeah, but I'm talking to someone. I go, I cannot stand phone conversation. And that used to be the way you talk to people. It was like, hey, you give them a call and you work things through and you listen. But now I'm like, I just can't do it. And so like when people are stuck in that mode, I get it, because if I had to go back to calling people, I would be like, yeah, I'm not doing sales, because it just drives me nuts. And then I
Yeah.
get their mode of it. But the thing about what you're describing, and I'd love to hear how this happens a little, like, right. I know AI is not quite there to enable and do some things, but how do you make a personalized video for every person?
Great question. So typically what we will teach is we say, hey, you want to talk to this certain doctor or this certain individual, whoever that may be. What we will say is, hey, doc, listen, this is what we you may, it's personalized, but then it can also be an evergreen video that you can send to 22 different prospects or different targets. When you get in the process of sales and they say it takes 7 touches in order for someone to buy from you, when you get down the road of the 3rd and 4th step, well, then it's like, hey, Thomas, it's Eric, want to talk to you. And you can personalize it that way and send it. And if it's all about being relevant at scale. And right now, well, let's rewind. How companies and people who sold products, how they became relevant at scale was they hired a lot more bodies. They just
Yeah.
hired more salespeople to go out face to face and talk to as many people as they possibly could. And so obviously that's kind of we've stuck with that since, the early 1900s. We've stuck with that, and it still works. And another thing that we always hear into this objection. Well, face to face sales is never going to go away. Absolutely. In fact, with
I
personalized
come back.
video, well, exactly. Personalized video enables you to get more face to face with your potential customer or your ideal customer, because they know that they want to buy from you, and you know that what you're providing to them, it's a much better interaction. It's a much better next appointment.
This brings me up to, this is a really good segue into a point that I think people should realize when they're marketing. This is where people kind of go wrong too, I think, of
Yep.
it, or get it right, I guess, to be more positive. But given what you're selling, so if you're selling an app, I think it's an extreme version where I don't expect to interact with any humans. I don't know if I need a video to buy it. I need information, and I can roll through and be like, okay, this app should, I should be able to get that pretty quickly because the app should be built for purpose, right? If you're a high ticket coach and your whole model is one-on-one or person one to many, but you're there, a video is the way to go because they get the first touch on you. Now, if you're something in between where you're a service that might be more expensive and you have some kind of customer support help, if you will, or some kind of face, I think a video still works, that there's a real person behind the scenes, though we don't probably need to interact with you. And I think people understanding how to use those videos is at the right level. Do you find, let me ask the question to you. Do you find that people sometimes miss that, hey, you don't need a video or you need several because of, so tell me about what the strategy is and when to use it.
Yeah, so I'll give you a real world life example. So we had one industry in particular, HVAC, that has gone through our course, gone through and what we're teaching, and they are sending personalized videos every step of the way. Hey, this is what identified in your system that needs repair. This is how we did it. This is what we used. Their customer engagement slash new customer, because everybody they were sending these personalized videos to, they told all their friends. They're like, listen, I knew step by step. I knew what time they got there. I felt like I was one of the customers said, I felt like I knew exactly where they were, like I was in the room with them. And so when you're in that kind of world and you're able in a service industry to say, hey, you're gone and I'm fixing, or I've got this thing on your roof. Here's what I'm doing on your roof. Because everybody, I don't care who you are, when somebody goes up on your roof or somebody does some kind of service related thing to your home and they come back down, they go, you know what? This is going to cost $81,000. And you're like, how does this? Because you have no frame of reference. You don't know what they're talking about. You don't have any understanding. But when you visually can see what they're talking about, what they've done, why they've done it, and this is why, you're willing to talk about price. You're willing to talk about exactly, what the next step can be. But it's in the service industries. And then also, what we do in our medical device, where we started in medical devices, we've been able to show physicians exactly what a device can do, how it works, why it works the way it does. And it completely eliminates the, hey, let me come to your office and set up lunch.
Yeah, that one makes sense. So if you can, there's two reasons people buy things, right? To make money and save time. And if the video has a perception of, hey, this is something you sell and I can save you time so you can understand how it can help to do it faster. They're in between patients. They can literally look at it while they're like, about to go into the room. Like you see doctors, they literally multitask in between walking. They look at some record, reply. It looks like a terrible existence.
Yeah. And
you're right. I do that. Listen, 2 minutes. If you want me to come show you in person, it's great. Otherwise, here's the form kind of thing. Right.
Yep.
And does it help people like in that medical world in particular? And that could be anything. It could be for bar equipment. It could be, there's many things it could do, right, for it.
Sure.
Is generally the video there to get an in-person or a Zoom call, or how do you see a lot of times the video used from a kind of a call to action next step?
So after surveying several physicians and understanding what doctors, how they think, they see it as a next step and a call to action. Like, let's get together and take a look at this. there's different variations of it. It may be a product that they are currently using. They're already a customer. There's a new iteration of the product, and you say, hey, this is what this does now. And I know you have a patient that needed this, and this is how this works. That's one portion of it. There's also the next one that's call to action that, hey, we spoke at some point in time, relating it back to another conversation, or it could be just completely cold and say, hey, I know you see patients that experience this kind of condition. Here's XYZ. This is what this does. I think this could be a benefit and a solution to your patients. Would you be willing to have a chat about this, or should we schedule a chat? And we have found tremendous, and to the point where we've had physicians say to us that, thank you so much for doing it this way, because I can tell you, I hate it when I have to have some rep set up a lunch in my office. I've got to take time and I've got to pretend that I care and like what they have to say. And he's like, he says, it's uncomfortable. And it's just, you saved me so much time in doing it this way.
A really good salesperson, when I get them on, I'm like, hey, just pitch me in the first 5 minutes, right? Just hit me. Honestly, now they don't care where you're from. Let's just get to see if this is gonna be something I want to follow up with or not. Just what do you guys do?
Yep.
And it's like, it won't, me liking you is not gonna be making me buy anything. So if you know how to handle a salesperson, they actually appreciate it. Like, cool, this is gonna be done in 5 minutes.
Right.
Anyway, and I would tell people that, like, listen, hit a salesperson with just tell me what the value is with the problem you solve. How do you guys do that? And like, if they're good, they'll have that. Like, this is the problem we solve. We see it in your industry. Do you want to hear how we've solved it? And here's a use case. That's usually enough. Like, and I think if you think about your video, that's what your people are looking for. Of, okay, I believe, yep, I got that headline. That's my thing. I got it. What now? That's why I said, you said 2 minutes. I'm even surprised that most of them can't. If the idea is I'm not trying to sell you now, but just get the next step, I think it's probably just practice to get it faster.
Yeah, it's what we say is we want you to talk in 1 minute increments. Personalized video is about talking in 1 minute increments. You want to go to 2 minutes and discuss, all kinds of different features. And this is, this is something where somebody's asked you for a video or a next step on how this works or how that works, then that's 2 minutes. But we as salespeople, as I said before, we are not trained to talk in 1 minute snippets. It's painful. If you watch somebody who's been in sales for years, they get to about the 1 minute mark, they're just revving up. And you as a customer, you just said it. You're like, oh my gosh, just let's get to the point. Let's. I got but it's the transformation of our behavior that's happening because of we can go down that whole neuroscience world of why that is, and just go out to any local area and you can see what everybody's doing. They're staring at things that are creating dopamine hits.
What tell me about the future of this. So and if you got more to say, obviously on the process flow, because I think I get it. Like, you do it, you use a tool, and you got to coach through this a little bit. Maybe before we get to the future, what are some absolute do nots and absolute do's when you're using this kind of technology and this approach?
Yeah. So I do not send a video where you're reading from the from your pamphlet and it takes about 6.5 minutes. Don't do it. Do not sit there and spout off about typical sales things. And I'm not telling anybody anything. Don't sit there and send a video about how much your competitor sucks. That's just ridiculous. Don't do that as well. The do's, you need to right off the bat within the first 7 seconds catch them. And so there's several different things, and it's all visual. I'll typically have a little whiteboard in my hand that we teach that says, hey, would you be interested in having 72% more patients in your office? If a doctor doesn't click on that, you've got problems. They're going to click on it. And whether it's them or it's their office manager, do's are, you want to catch them in the first 7 seconds. You want to punch them in the amygdala right off the bat. You want them to know, this is why I'm watching this, and this is something I need to see. But those are mostly, the do nots are pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever bought anything from anybody, you know what the do nots are. Now, I say that, and because in the world of sales, people sometimes have a really hard time listening. They'll engage in the do nots for a certain amount of time.
What about the future and AI? How's it going to play into this kind of tech and from either creation or regulation standpoint?
Yeah, so I have this conversation a lot with people, and my thoughts are this. I just because of the deep fake stuff that's going on with AI, there's going to be some kind of regulation on knowing when AI is talking to you. It's going to be fine if it's an AI generated video. That's fine if you know what that is. But if Joe Rogan sends you a personalized video about how you need to look at this supplement and you think it's him talking to you, those are issues that are real. Now, for us, we use certain things and I don't get anything from, but we'll use something called humantic.ai. And that's a platform we utilize to learn about our prospects. And it's pretty scary. Go ahead and put yourself into one of these AI platforms and it will spit out exactly who you are. It goes through the internet and pulls all of your data and all your
Oh
data
boy.
about you. And it's scary. It's scary how great and how well it works. Now, obviously, as AI is going to be integrated into everything we possibly do, it's going to shorten that process even more of what to say to who and when and where and how and all those different things. But as I said in the beginning, and I have this conversation all the time, there's going to be some regulation on AI and how it's utilized, and you're going to have to know when you're being talked to by someone who's not real.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
but all that being said, I think AI is a fantastic thing for kind of the migration back to the genuine face-to-face interaction because there is some right now. I mean, I feel it. I know when I get AI bots who respond to me on LinkedIn, I have a lot of LinkedIn content that I share. And I get these crazy messages from the best process is to be you, and it's some guy from another place that it's obviously it's an AI bot who's doing it, and that's really infiltrated all of social media to a point where people are saying to themselves, I don't know if I don't really want to follow that person or follow that because it's just all AI generated crap. The genuine people who are out there and they're sharing every day and who they are, you can tell that has become even more relevant and actually prevalent in what these successful creators are doing.
Well, I mean, one of our decisions last year when we started this podcast was, hey, this will become my personal content because it'll all be authentic.
Yep.
The conversations we have, and it doesn't do as well on LinkedIn as some other things, but I do know long term the fact that as we do articles, we put on a newsletter. These are real conversations. Not only you're drawing your brand in because hey, Tom's a real guy. I talked to him, and hopefully the podcast doesn't suck. And like like, and the point is over time, people are like, okay, that's at least I can trust that when they're talking about entrepreneurship or they're talking about bringing a guest on so you can learn something about a new tech or how to do it or not to do it. The reason behind that is because 5 years ago we had access to OpenAI's beta, like 3 years before it became GPT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we quickly, my background being in AI and consulting on it, I was like, whoa, authentic content, it will be absolute supreme moving forward. AI will modify it with better word usage or don't repeat myself or whatever it'll be. But original thought into it, well written, will be attributed very nicely. And so I was like, let's just go talk about this and get as much content out there as I can between now and then, because now you're 4 years ahead of what the algorithms will shift back to, which is that real?
Yeah.
And that's the question it's asking now. Is that real content from a human or is it an AI make it? And you already see this more and more because they have massive spam problems with AIs writing to AIs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the big joke on social media platforms, AI generated content it's being commented on by AI and then argued with by an AI bot. They're arguing with themselves and with AI, and you can tell what it is. You look at it. Now, I do think it's going to get considerably better. I think I think people are going to struggle at some point. I think this is in the years to come where you're going to go, that's where I think when you talk to certain people in that world where this is going to have to be labeled and have to be understood that this is what it is.
It's going to have to be. I mean, it's there. But you're in the coaching side. I think it was smart of you guys to do that because, building you could see if you had built the app you needed when you started, it would have been so far outdated already. The investment would have broke your company.
Yeah.
Not knowing anything about your company, but I'm pretty safe in saying that would have killed you guys.
100%. Well, we looked into it. I mean, we went heavy and into the research into it. We looked at buying one of these, different software platforms, and it was just like, well, that's not our business. We're not tech guys. We don't understand that piece of the puzzle. We're not, app builders. What we are coaches and platform builders and that type of thing. So that's why we went in that direction.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense because you're um in this world, one of the things I think I realized too was that and this is for anyone out there in sales or out there who's an entrepreneur, when you see a very turbulent space, consulting and services around that are a really good business to have because it's a growing market. It's a high demand, starving market that needs something, and which means you don't even have to be good at it. It's going to be better than the person you're selling to typically, and you can grow your business as it normalizes, and there becomes like a way to build upon LLM, so it can always take the latest and greatest. Then sure, dive in, but until then, it's good. Just conscious of time, I want to make sure who is it that should get a hold of you, and how do they do that?
Yeah, so it's predominantly we are in the medical device space. So if you're a medical device company and you're looking to have a sales force that is experiencing, maybe a slowdown, or you're experiencing fantastic growth and you want to add to that, get in touch with us, virtualsalesrx.com, and you can, book a time to schedule a meeting with us. We can go through step by step. And we've now taught several of the largest medical device firms in the world: Medtronic, Shockwave,
Wow.
DePuy Synthes, and it's just growing. We're about to embark on all of the divisions within Medtronic Europe. I mean, so it's growing tremendously, and which is exciting. But yeah, so please go to virtualsalesrx.com, schedule a time to chat, and we'd love to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, by the way. Eric, I appreciate you coming on today and dropping this. I'm sure I'm going to follow up with you on kind of how we could leverage this potentially in some email campaigns and stuff going forward. So I'll take it with you offline on that and not bore the audience with my details.
Yeah, love to do that. And thank you for having me on, Tom. I mean, this has been great. I love what you're doing. The first time I saw you with the tie, cut like that, I go, all right, that caught my attention. That was a personalized video. You didn't even know it was a personalized video. Just a picture of you doing that. Yeah.
Imagine if I did that and sent it to people. Like, I cut. We dropped. Oh, our connection died there for a minute. All right, we're going to say goodbye. I'm going to put you in the. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Let's do it again soon.
You got it. And listen, everyone who made it today, thank you so much for listening. Eric Anderson, I'll put I'm sure we're having a little technical challenge. You got to love the internet. It's raining here in Atlanta, so maybe that's the problem. But tell you me again, I want you to get out there, go unleash your entrepreneur, do a great job of cutting a tie, even if it's just a small one, something that's holding you back. Go find that one thing today, brushing your teeth, think about the one thing that you've always wanted to do or whatever excuse you always make. Stop doing it, and then take a step towards becoming a great person, great entrepreneur. Thanks so much for listening. The internet's broken today, people. The internet is broken. I'm still live somehow. It won't end. This is like they call it the fourth wall at the end of a movie. I'm talking to the audience now. The movie's over. Just waiting for the stream to die. It won't die. It may have already died. We don't know. Having troubles ending the stream. We're